Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Saturday. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Saturday morning / afternoon. Got a quick word for you guys. Clean up your mess. Clean up your, all caps, your mess. The mess you've made. Okay, here's the thing, guys. So when I was on my nature trail a little while ago, got some downloads. I figured I'd share one of them with you guys. All right, so you would have to be living under a rock if you don't know that when you get ahead of God, when you disobey God, when you're full of pride, all that stuff, that you create a mess. you create a mess. Versus if we wait on God or if we stay in his will, it's like everything is perfectly aligned. Everything unfolds naturally. There's no resistance, nothing. It's a Kairos moment, right? Everything just aligned and everything finds you, etc., etc. But when we get ahead of God, when we're being disobedient because we want something, then we make a mess out of things. So in saying that, this is not for everybody, but if it's for you, you will know, because I know it came clear to me what the thing was for me when I got the conviction. So if it's for you, it will be highlighted and you know what that thing is. So one thing that I've come to learn quite some time ago is that God is not going to like hold your hand and tie you down and say, hey, no, don't make this blunder, just wait on me. No. He's going to convict you. And then either you're going to take heed to that conviction or you're going to just go ahead because you just want what you want. And sometimes this is the trick too with some things. And this happens to me a lot. Not a lot, but anytime I find myself cleaning up my mess, it's typically this. I heard from God clear as day when he gave me the download, right? But as time go on, the enemy will literally strategically and subtly start dropping little nuggets in your spirit. And then you start to forget. You literally forget. It's not that you're being willingly disobedient, but you're still in disobedience, but you're so distracted. And after listening to Bishop Sam over the week with his videos in regards to distraction, it just made everything clear as day. You're so distracted. This is why it's so crucial to be aware of your distractions. God will convict you when you're being distracted. But sometimes we're so distracted that we don't even receive the conviction. Or we receive it, but we put it off, right? But the enemy will literally start dropping things in your spirit and you forget about the download that God gave you clear as day. You forget about the boundaries that God told you to put in place. You forget about God telling you it is, but it's not the season. I'll let you know. You forget about God saying, that person can't be in your life. You got to have firm boundaries because when you're around this person, there are just certain things that pull from you that's going to keep you distracted. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's going to keep all the stuff that he gave you, you forgot about over time. When he gave it to you, it was very profound. But as time goes on, that boundary starts to fall down a little bit. And then the enemy is so strategic that he will allow something to happen, right? Something will happen where it seems to you that you have to let the boundary fall, or you have to let them back in, or you have to go back into that environment, or you have to get ahead of God because this and that, right? So he'll hit you to make it seem like it's okay. He'll make it seem like it's God. It's okay, even though you know you heard God clear as day telling you to walk away and never look back. Put this boundary up and stop letting this person pull from your spirit, right? Keep working on this because this, and that. Keep doing this because that. You know you heard God clear as day. It was not a question when you got that download. And somehow, over the time, that thing, that place, that person inched their way back into your life. Matter of fact, you may have gone and got them yourself. And see, the enemy is also so strategic that he catches you at a very down time. A lot of you guys are like in the wilderness. Thank God I'm out of that. Well, let me not talk too quick, honey, because God got a way of throwing your behind back in there when you slip, right? When you slip and you're not on point, he will throw you back in there to get your attention, right? So let me not talk too quick there. But I know some of you are in the wilderness, in the deep wilderness, where you feel lost, you feel lonely, you don't know what God is doing, right? Even though you know it's wonderful, right? If you're in the wilderness, something good is coming, right? But it don't feel like that when you're in there, right? But the enemy will literally use that moment to bring that same thing that God told you to wait on, don't touch, put boundaries, whatever. He will bring that thing back at that very moment. And then all of a sudden, you're like, wow, maybe that is God. Maybe God came to get me out of the wilderness early, even though God told you it wasn't the season. Even though God told you, I will make it clear as day. There will be no confusion about it, right? But you're thinking like, ooh, honey, this gotta be God. God is great. And God told your behind, don't touch that thing. The season is up for it. Don't go back. Don't do this. Don't do nothing. And God's going to come. First of all, one thing God ain't going to do is backtrack on his word. So now God going to come back and tell you, all right, it's okay. I know you're lonely. You can go back and entertain it. I know you can. And you are happy, honey, because you get to come out of this wilderness and have some fun or whatever you got going on. And before you know it, that little subtle, familiar spirit, that little subtle download from the enemy, because he knows you're empty right now. It starts off like everything is great. Well, this has got to be God, because, okay, we're back to it now and everything seems like it's great. And that thing gets a stronghold or a foothold to the point that it started off great, which was a strategic way of the enemy. It started off looking like, oh, it's got to be God because they've changed. That change, this change is really looking like it's God. You're so distracted that you still can't even hear God at this time telling you, that ain't me, because go back to the original download. Go back to what I told you a year ago, right? God has given you the convictions and trying to get your attention at this time, because he already know what it is when you mess around and get too caught up in this thing. But you're too distracted. And the enemy is so strategic. Not only are you just distracted with this thing, he's going to start hitting you in other areas. So now you're too busy trying to fight in the spirit about work. There's a attack with the family. There's attack here. Like you're warring against other distractions that the enemy strategically put in place, so you can't hear God's conviction telling you, hey, get right, right? And before you know it, time goes on, weeks, months, hopefully not years for anybody, right? Can't stay distracted that long, hopefully not. But then all hell break loose. And the hell is coming from that very one thing you went back and allowed back into your life. that person that you allow the boundary to be knocked down, and they just inch their way back in. That environment that God told you not to go back to, that job that God told you was done, but because you're so fearful about the unknown, and if the new business venture that God has gave you, if that's going to work out, or if you relocate, how it's going to work out, right? Because of all those, that feeling of the unknown, you went right back and begged for that job back. You went right back and allowed that person, knowing that person has been always toxic for 47 years and 3 days. Nothing have never changed with this person. The last time you saw them, they were still the toxic person, but all of a sudden now you got this aha moment that God said they all of a sudden change. And now you're in a mess. And the crazy thing about that, the mess is just not the blunder that you went back and disobeyed God about, or even if it's not intentionally, because I know for a fact what my thing is, and it was so not intentionally, right? Because my obedience game is on fleek. If God said it, oh, I'm on it. But the enemy is so darn tricky that he will catch you in the time that you're not even paying attention. But, and that's why God is so gracious, right? Because he knows, right? I think he really handles you and really deal with you like a certain type of way when you're being disobedient, like on purpose. Like you know clear as day he said, don't do this. You know clear as day, right? And you're still doing it, right? Versus when we get distracted and the enemy is catching us at a certain time where we're just really down and out and low. I'm sorry, the policeman is behind me pulling somebody over. I guess I'm being nosy. But the crazy part is, like I was saying, it's just not the thing. It's not like it's just, okay, let's say if it's a person, right? Let's say if it's or whatever. Now the mess is just not the person. The mess is just not the thing. The mess has now branched off into different areas. So it's a huge mess that is in addition to just the mess of the person. So let's say, for example, let's say it's a narc, right? Let's say it's a narc. So if it was just the narc's mess, that's just now means you and the narc is constantly just at odds, and they're just stressing you out like narcs do, and love bombing you, and then just playing these mind games, and they're manipulating you and all this other stuff, right? Okay, that's a stabilized mess, just you and the narc. But this time it's the issue with the narc, but now the narc have gone and start some type of drama with somebody else inside of the family and lied on you. Now you got issues not only with the narc, you now got issues with the family. You and the narc may have tried to go and move in together again or something, I don't know. Come to find out, they done messed up with your credit. They went and told the people at the place that they made up a lie. Now the people is trying to evict you. It could look like the narc has, I don't know, stole your passport, and now you got to go on a trip for work, and you can't. You see how it branches off and it makes a mess in different, and that's just an example, right? In a different, it's not even just the narc. So now you have to clean up the mess in every area, and now it feels like it's this attack of all attacks, and it's like, Lord, why is this going on? I'm just in another and God is like, what do you mean? This is your mess. You got ahead of me. You were disobedient. Let it have been unintentionally or intentionally. It's still disobedience. And now you're sitting here acting like you don't know why this is going on. Oh, the enemy is attacking me. Like, what's going on? Right? What's going on? And the whole time, it's you. I mean, the enemy is in there, yeah, because you gave him, entryway. But still, the point is, you want to blame God for this nonsense. So God is like, listen, I didn't make the mess, right? I didn't make the mess. Now I'm going to give you some grace to clean it up, but I'm not about to come in here and clean that. You created that nonsense. You go clean it up. Clean up your, all caps, your mess. Now, the first thing you need to do is repent. And again, most times not even intentionally, that you got distracted and you went back to what, right? So repent. Ask for forgiveness. Most importantly, do not keep going back, right? You've asked for forgiveness. You repented. God has put an exclamation mark behind that thing. Don't go back getting entangled in the mess. Meaning, God is not going to give you grace to clean it up. Meaning, all right, I'm going to give you this strategic way. I want you to go here, have a conversation with the people at the leasing office. Don't even mention the narc's name. Don't even get back into that back and forth. Don't throw no shade. Just explain to the people. Take full accountability. I take full accountability, because whatever they've said to you, whatever light they've tried to paint me in, whatever drama they've caused in the neighborhood, I take full responsibility, because it really is yours. Because if you didn't let them back in, the narc wouldn't even had access to ruin other people's lives. So you have to take full accountability. God don't want you going back and forth and getting in the spider web with, well, no, they said this, they said that, it wasn't me, it wasn't, no, that's all me, that's all me. That's all me right there. I take full responsibility that they've created this drama in the community. Tell me how I can make it right. Whatever they say to you, you might have to pay a double deposit or a double whatever. They might take your whole deposit because the narc done narc. Right? The narc done narc. Right? That made everybody's life a living hell. So now, your disobedience got you coming out your pocket double. And let me just tell you, that's common. When you get the head of God, honey, you're going to lose money. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to lose a peace of mind. You're going to lose everything, period. But you got to eat that, right? You got to eat that because you were disobedient. So, all right, you've done that. But the strategic way God is, and all these are just examples, right? Getting where you fit in. But God is telling you, this is the strategic way. When you go in there, they're going to try to want to ask you questions about the narc, or Satan is going to try to use something to make you want to just open up more avenues that can piss the narc off. No. And everything that comes against you that makes you want to say something, you're going to have to be obedient to God. Regardless of what your flesh is saying and your pride is saying, eat that. You got to clean up your mess. And you can't clean up a mess when you're still sitting here playing tit for tat or arguing back and forth, because energy transfers and all that stuff is just pinging all over the place. Go ahead and dead that. Dead it. Right? So that's one strategic way. Now you got to go clean up, what else I said? The passport issue, right? Now you got to go and try to tell these people that somebody stole your license, or what. Don't even tell them the narc stole it. Just tell them you misplaced it, or whatever God tells you misplaced it. Tell me what I have to pay to get it. I will make it right. Dead that. And so on. So the whole point is, you're going to have to clean up your mess in every single area. The strategic way that God gives you. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose a peace of mind. These are the consequences of getting ahead of God. These are the consequences of being disobedient. So God will give you the grace to clean it up, but it's going to be hell. It's going to be hell. But you can get it done. But the key is, again, take accountability. Whatever you messed up with your mouth, with your money, with your whatever you messed up, just take full accountability so you can dead that. Don't allow anybody to call you and bring it back up. Once God have forgiven you, once you have made it right, don't take no more calls from the narc. Put that boundary back in firm place immediately. Whatever the boundary initially was, put it back exactly where God told you to put it back initially before you made your head hard. And then before you know it, you'll be back in the will of God. And now, I guarantee you, you will not make your head hard again. And truth be told, these are just ways too how you just learn to hear from God more and more. You make mistakes and God help you to correct them, etc., etc. But we keep creating more drama for ourselves because we're just not being in the will of God, intentionally or unintentionally. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.